the planet Earth. For eons, a flourishing world teeming with life and rich in resources for our sustenance. But at the end of the 20th century, we began to wake up to an alarming reality. The planet's commons, the atmosphere, the climate, the world's ecosystems, oceans, forests, plants, and animals were deteriorating significantly at our own hands. And this threat to the global commons also threatened to damage countries' growth and development. It became clear that we risked irreversible loss if we didn't work to fix the problem together, systematically, and urgently. In 1991, the countries who participate in the World Bank decided to undertake a bold experiment. They established a billion-dollar pilot program called the Global Environment Facility, the GEF, and dedicated it to helping countries help the global commons and promote sustainable development. A year later, the world's first global clarion call for the environment took shape in the streets of Rio at the 1992 Earth Summit. As governments gathered and formed new treaties on climate change, biological diversity, and desertification, and sought solutions to other global environmental problems, they turned to the GEF as a channel for managing their investments in these solutions. In particular, developing countries needed funds beyond their limited development resources to transform projects with national environmental benefits into ones which could also benefit the global commons. The GEF could serve to provide these funds. Today, nearly 20 years on, more than 165 developing countries have invested some $9 billion GEF dollars in 2,400 projects for solutions to climate change, biodiversity loss, deteriorating international waters, desertification of land, persistent organic pollutants, and ozone depletion. They have worked through 10 implementing agencies to help them carry out their projects, and each GEF dollar has brought in more than 4 in co-financing. Developing countries in every region of the world have partnered with the World Bank as one of the GEF implementing agencies to tap into over US $4 billion of GEF-funded projects at the critical crossroads of development and environment. These projects are designed to breathe life into the triple bottom line of economic, environmental, and social sustainability. World Bank Group GEF projects have cut across the spectrum of global environmental concerns. Have these interventions made a difference? The answer is a resounding yes. Projects in every region have brought greater awareness of environmental concerns and created region-specific solutions and initiatives. The Latin America and Caribbean region is on the move, increasingly important in the global economy. But it faces a unique double-edged challenge. With some of the world's most vibrant ecosystems like the Amazon rainforest and the wetlands of Trinidad and Tobago to protect, it also houses some of the world's fastest-growing cities and must make them sustainable. Many countries in the region are making great strides to protect their commons through community-driven conservation, integrated silvopastoral production, and landscape-based initiatives. By encouraging participation and consultation as opposed to insulation and isolation, countries have deepened the links between local and global environmental issues. And in the face of climate change, many countries have taken steps to reduce emissions, even though the region produces only 13% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Africa, a continent rich in natural resources and environmental opportunity. But as migration toward African cities swells and the rural landscape degrades, both urban and rural environments are suffering. In increasingly populated cities, many citizens lack access to many services considered basic elsewhere, such as sanitation, waste management, and household energy services. Weak governance, poor use of ecosystem services, and increased climate variability are worrisome challenges. At the same time, 3/4 of Africa's poor people live in rural areas where land, water, biodiversity, and nutrients are degraded and disappearing. In response, countries in Africa have begun to carve out an ambitious strategy to bridge the gap between poverty alleviation and environmental management. African countries are working to embrace rural and urban energy services, build renewable energy markets, instill water basin and ecosystem management, heal conflicts between wildlife and people for land and ecosystem services, strengthen environmental management and governance, and improve protection of global public goods. At the crossroads of 3 continents, the Middle East and North Africa is a complex array of cultures and environments. From the mighty Mount Damavad to the historic Dead Sea, the region is home to desert and ocean, landlocked countries, and coastal lands. Environmentally, the region knows both great abundance and deep scarcity. The world's richest region in oil and gas, it is also one of the poorest in renewable water. As these ancient lands mark their 21st century progress, they must find ways to heal water scarcity, land and coastal degradation, urban and industrial pollution, and the deepening impacts of climate change. In response, the region's countries are carving out new paths to sustainable development. They are protecting regional seas, creating biodiversity protected areas, preserving traditional plant and animal species, leading the way on innovative uses for climate-friendly technologies, and promoting good environment management as a business opportunity. In Europe and Central Asia, countries are poised to overcome difficult political legacies and make significant contributions to the global environmental agenda. The North and West have abundant water and forests, but are vulnerable to water pollution and flooding. The South and East face water scarcity, desertification, deforestation, and soil erosion. The Central Belt has fertile soil, but faces difficulties with sustainable land management. Some of the region's remote mountain glaciers and forested wetlands are feeling the first impacts of climate change. Oil and gas resources are unevenly distributed in the countries. To solve these diverse imbalances, the countries are developing multi-country partnerships and individually tailored programs and rooting environmental solutions in their country development strategies. East Asia and the Pacific has grown faster economically than any other region, with dramatic improvements in people's quality of life. But these gains have been unevenly distributed and achieved at considerable environmental cost. With 5 of the 17 most mega-diverse countries on Earth, the region supports spectacular biological wealth. But today, these resources are threatened by habitat loss and fragmentation, overexploitation, invasive alien species, and increasingly, the impacts of climate change. These problems affect people's health, livelihoods, and security, and compromise the benefits of sustained growth now and for future generations. The region's countries are facing these challenges with new initiatives, such as land-based pollution reduction, an emphasis on renewable energy, and transboundary strategies that bring countries together for the good of the environment. Together, the East Asian countries are building smart eco-development, doing more with less in an innovative way. In South Asia, impressive macroeconomic growth has a flip side. While the region is rich in environmental promise, it must wrestle with critical environmental impacts that could derail its country's path to prosperity. Polluted air and water, water scarcity, declining rangeland, degraded natural forest cover, plants, animals, and ecosystems in danger. At the same time, crowded cities and grinding poverty, coupled with low resilience to climate risks, make the region highly vulnerable to climate change. In response, the region is beginning to put the environment in the hands of the people who have the most to gain from preservation, reclamation, and renewal, making conservation more and more community-driven and locally based. Sustainable land management, renewable sources of energy, and climate co-benefits through energy efficiency are also important strategies as the region reaches into the 21st century to preserve its future. The International Finance Corporation, the World Bank Group's private sector arm, is witness and participant to the tectonic shift in the private sector worldwide as environmental concerns reshape the global market. In every region of the world, growing environmental awareness is changing consumer spending habits, shifting the way companies do business, and altering investment decisions. And IFC is supporting these market trends in developing countries. IFC helps companies identify, reduce, and manage environmental risks and offers technical assistance on climate change, labor, and social assets and biodiversity. By providing resources and knowledge, IFC encourages public-private partnerships, promotes open and competitive markets, helps generate productive jobs, and delivers essential services to the underserved. Once a vibrant source of life, air, and light, today the Earth stands at environmental crisis point. But there is hope. Countries are joining forces in unprecedented ways to create smart environmental solutions. The GEF World Bank Group partnership is helping countries redesign the world map as we move into an uncharted future. Together, we can reshape the global commons and recapture the vibrant essence of the planet we call home.